From the moment he could walk and talk, Olly Pearson seemed destined for the spotlight. He wasn't just singing along to songs on the radio, he was performing them with gestures, emotion, and a sparkle in his eye that made it impossible not to watch. Around the house, he'd keep his family entertained with spot-on impressions and spontaneous comedy routines that had everyone in stitches. It was clear even then that Olly wasn't just another kid who liked to sing, he had something. Recognizing his natural gift, Olly's parents became his biggest cheerleaders. They signed him up for singing lessons and local talent shows, watching him come alive every time he set foot on a stage. With each performance, his confidence grew, and so did the whispers. Could he really make it big one day? Then came a moment that changed everything. A chance to audition for Britain's Got Talent, the show that had launched so many stars. It felt surreal, but behind Olly's wide smile was a heart pounding with nerves and excitement. He knew this was more than just an audition. It was the shot he'd dreamed about since the first time he held a toy microphone in his hand. What would the judges think? Would the audience connect with him? One thing was certain. Olly Pearson was about to step into the unknown, and the world was about to discover a talent that had been quietly shining all along. When 13-year-old Olly stepped onto the Britain's Got Talent stage, he looked like any other shy kid, nervous, wide-eyed, and clutching onto hope. But what happened next would leave millions speechless. As he stood under the spotlight, the judges leaned in. The crowd hushed. Then the music began. From the very first note, everything changed. His voice, soft yet powerful, delicate but confident, cut through the silence like a lightning bolt. No one expected that sound to come from someone so young. Amanda's eyes welled with tears. Alicia leaned forward and whispered, "He's a young prodigy." Even Simon, known for his stone-cold critiques, broke into a smile that said everything. By the time Olly hit his final note, the entire room was on its feet. The audience roared, the judges were stunned, and at home, people across the country grabbed their phones to replay the moment again and again. But here's what made it unforgettable. Olly didn't just sing, he felt every word. He told a story with his voice and everyone listened. It wasn't just an audition, it was the kind of moment that careers are made of and lives are changed by. And in less than 3 minutes, a nervous boy from the wings became the name on everyone's lips. After Olly's audition aired on national television, it didn't just get attention, it exploded. Within minutes, social media lit up. People across the UK couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. Who is this kid? Where did he come from? That voice. How is he so young and yet so powerful? The comments poured in by the thousands, then the tens of thousands. And it didn't stop at the UK. From Europe to America to Australia, people were discovering this boy with the angelic voice and sharing his performance like wildfire. Fan pages dedicated to Olly appeared overnight. Some run by adults, some by kids, all captivated by the same thing. That once-in-a-generation kind of talent. He gained thousands of followers in just a few days. Radio stations scrambled to book him for interviews. Morning shows wanted him live. Talent agents began calling nonstop. One executive even said he hadn't seen this kind of buzz around a young performer in over a decade. For a moment, it felt like Olly was on track to become a global household name. He was hailed as the next big thing, the future of music, and even a young prodigy destined for greatness. Event organizers booked him for appearances. Major labels expressed interest. He was being offered contracts, photo shoots, interviews, everything a rising star could ever dream of. But beneath the headlines, the praise, and the whirlwind of opportunity, something else was brewing. While the world was falling in love with his voice, Olly, still just a teenager, was quietly starting to feel the cracks. The pressure to be perfect, the fear of making a mistake, the overwhelming noise of fame coming at him from every direction. His life had changed almost overnight, and he hadn't even had time to catch his breath. What looked like a dream come true on the outside, Boston was beginning to feel like a storm on the inside. The world saw the spotlight, but they didn't see what happened when the cameras turned off. And what came next would reveal a side of Olly that most fans never knew existed. A story of struggle, strength, and an unexpected turning point that nearly changed everything. While millions of people around the world cheered him on, clapped for his talent, and watched his performances on repeat, Olly was quietly drowning behind the scenes. To the outside world, he looked like the perfect child star, confident, charming, and born to be on stage. But behind every standing ovation was a boy slowly unraveling under the weight of expectations no child should have to carry. In the beginning, performing made Olly light up inside. Music was his escape, his joy, his safe space. But once the cameras turned on and the world began to take notice, everything changed. Overnight, his life became a carefully scheduled routine of rehearsals, interviews, and public appearances. His days, once filled with laughter and play, were now packed with pressure. The joy of singing turned into a job with no breaks, no privacy, and no room for error. The more famous he became, the less time he had to just be a kid. There were no sleepovers with friends, no time to unwind, and barely any moments where he wasn't being told where to stand, what to say, or how to smile. Slowly, he stopped feeling like himself. Instead of being seen as a 13-year-old boy with feelings, fears, and dreams, he began to feel like a brand, a product, a puppet in a world that only valued him when he was perfect. What made it even harder was the silence. Everyone around him assumed he was fine. After all, he was living the dream, right? His family did everything they could to keep him grounded, to protect him. But no one can fully prepare for how fast and how brutally fame can hit, especially when you're just a kid. Olly started to feel trapped, anxious, alone. He would smile on stage, but behind those smiles were sleepless nights, growing self-doubt, and a constant fear that he wasn't good enough. People praised his talent, but no one asked if he was okay. As the applause got louder, his inner voice got quieter. And soon, that once bright spark he had when he first sang in front of a crowd started to flicker. What happened next would change everything. It would expose a side of child fame that most people never see, one that's hidden beneath the glitter and gold. And it would force Olly, his family, and the world watching to ask a difficult question. How much is too much when the price is a child's happiness? As the weeks went by, something quietly began to change in Olly. At first, it was subtle, small shifts that only those closest to him might have noticed. The spark that once lit up his eyes during interviews and performances slowly started to fade. The bright lights that once thrilled him now felt like a constant spotlight, exposing every flaw, every moment of doubt. What once felt like a dream come true was beginning to feel more like a cage. Behind the scenes, Olly became noticeably quieter, more distant. His once playful energy during rehearsals turned into silence and hesitation. He stopped cracking jokes. He started showing up late or not at all. The joy he used to feel on stage had been replaced with a sense of dread he couldn't explain. He barely touched his food, tossed and turned at night, and avoided opening his phone. Social media, once a place where he connected with fans, now felt like a battlefield. Too loud, too judgmental, too much. But the most heartbreaking part? No one really knew how much he was hurting. Like so many young people in the spotlight, Olly learned to wear the perfect mask. He smiled for the cameras, thanked the crowd, posted the right photos. To the world, he looked fine. Maybe just a little tired, but inside, he was sinking. And no one had any idea just how deep he had fallen, or how much longer he could keep pretending. Eventually, the pressure became unbearable. Behind the scenes, the long days, constant rehearsals, and overwhelming expectations were quietly taking a toll on Olly. He smiled on camera, but off stage, he was exhausted, anxious, and just wanted a break from it all. One evening, after yet another emotionally draining day, Olly turned to his parents and said something they never expected to hear. He wanted to quit the show. Not take a break. Quit entirely. He didn't want the lights, the cameras, or the attention anymore. He just wanted to feel like a regular kid again. His parents were stunned. They knew he had been struggling, but hearing him say it out loud made it real. What followed were days of long, emotional conversations filled with tears, tough questions, and deep reflection. Finally, they all agreed. His well-being came first. And just like that, Olly was gone. No dramatic exit, no emotional farewell, no final bow. One day he was there, and the next he wasn't. Fans were left baffled. Social media lit up with rumors. Some believed he had been eliminated. Others thought it was a stunt. A few feared something worse. But the truth behind Olly's sudden disappearance wouldn't come out for a long time. And when it finally did, no one saw it coming. Months after stepping away from the spotlight, Olly and his family made an emotional and deeply personal announcement. The statement revealed a side of Olly that fans had never seen before. He had been battling anxiety and depression. Behind the polished performances and the fame that seemed to come so suddenly, Olly was struggling to cope with the immense pressure that came with being thrust into the public eye. His family shared the painful but powerful truth. While his career was soaring, his mental health was taking a backseat. Choosing to step away from the spotlight wasn't just about taking a break. It was about prioritizing his well-being above all else. This was a bold, vulnerable decision. The same young man who once commanded the stage now chose to take control of his own healing journey. It wasn't just an act of self-care, it was a courageous stand for mental health. In a world that often idolizes fame and success, Olly's choice to step back showed that true strength lies in taking care of yourself. His story wasn't just about his career or his rise to fame. It became a beacon for others, letting them know they weren't alone in their struggles. What came next was nothing short of remarkable, and it left many speechless. The world didn't respond with judgment or disappointment. Instead, the outpouring of love and support was overwhelming. Fans who had watched Olly's journey unfold on Britain's Got Talent poured their hearts out in messages of encouragement and admiration. Mental health advocates, one who had long been pushing for greater awareness and understanding, hailed Olly for his bravery in speaking up. Celebrities from all corners of the entertainment world, past BGT contestants, well-known figures, and even the show's judges, took to social media expressing their solidarity with him. They reminded Olly that he had already proved more than enough through his raw talent, and that he had nothing left to prove to anyone. The response wasn't just supportive, it was transformative. Olly's journey transcended beyond the world of talent shows. It became a symbol of resilience, vulnerability, and the courage to prioritize mental health, especially for young people who often feel the crushing weight of expectations. For once, the internet did something positive. Instead of tearing someone down, it came together to lift Olly up, showing the world that kindness, understanding, and support are stronger than any viral trend. In that moment, Olly's story became a reminder that behind every public figure, there's a human being who deserves compassion, care, and the freedom to heal. Olly didn't rush back into the public eye after stepping away from the spotlight. Instead, he took the time to focus on healing, something that became his priority above all else. He began seeing a therapist, someone who would help him unpack his feelings, his past struggles, and the weight of the expectations he'd carried for so long. Olly leaned heavily on his family, who supported him every step of the way, providing the emotional strength he needed to rebuild. Slowly but surely, he started to reconnect with the parts of life that once brought him joy. Music, the very thing that had made him famous, became a source of comfort once more. But this time, without the crushing pressure of fame. No expectations, no deadlines, just the pure, simple joy of playing and singing for himself. Every now and then, Olly would post a small, intimate video of himself singing at home, or share a candid photo with friends, showing glimpses of his life without the artificial lens of cameras or judges. Fans who had once been worried, unsure if they'd ever see Olly back in the public eye, rejoiced. They didn't just see a return, they witnessed something even more profound. What they were watching wasn't a comeback in the traditional sense, but a rebirth. Olly was reinventing himself, carving out a life on his own terms, far removed from the expectations of the industry. This time, it wasn't about pleasing anyone else. It was about honoring himself. This journey wasn't just about stepping back into the spotlight. It was about reclaiming the things he loved most, without the suffocating grip of fame. No longer defined by a title, a trophy, or a single performance, Olly was simply a man with a passion for music, determined to share it with the world on his own schedule. Fans cheered, not just because they saw their favorite artist returning, but because they saw a man embracing the true power of vulnerability and self-care. And in that, they found hope. They saw that sometimes the most important thing you can do for yourself is step away from everything and come back stronger, more authentic, and more at peace. Today, Olly Pearson's name isn't defined by a single performance or the glint of a trophy. It's tied to something much deeper, something that has left an indelible mark on both his fans and the industry. Olly has reminded the world of a powerful, often forgotten truth. Fame isn't always glamorous, and the cost of living in the spotlight can be far greater than anyone realizes. His story has sparked crucial conversations about the intense pressure placed on young performees.